to space engineers. All right. Well, as you can see, the ship is mostly completed. Now, it's true, I haven't bothered to put a hull on it or anything like that, and I'm not going to bother, at least not right now. Perhaps later it may acquire one, but for right now, it doesn't need it. I still have some work to do on the thrusters. All of the thrusters currently require a number of metal grid in order to be completed. And that's the one thing that I failed to take into account when doing things, because if I go here and look at storage inventories, metal grids is the one thing I don't have enough of. Yeah, I didn't think about that before I tore down the assembler and the lander, and of course it's not there anymore. But what I'm going to do, let's see, number 9. Let's see, there is a port on the bottom of that, right? Yes. Alright, so I'm just going to stick an assembler right there on the ship. And I've got the stuff in my inventory to go ahead and make it up. Get this thing on here, and by having the port downward, it's connected to the cargo things, which means it's basically hooked into the ship's conveyor system, such as it is. Now, I've already gone through all of the thrusters and counted up how many things I'm going to need. So I can go over here to assembler, turn it off for a second, and metal grids. Let's do it right. Because I only actually need 380 of them. Alright. Assembler, turn it on. And it should start pulling in the materials it needs. Yeah, there it goes. Okay. Now, while that is going, I'm going to go ahead and tear down the rest of the lander. Now, the ship's hydrogen tanks also. If I look here, hydrogen tank 1 is full, tank 2 is full, and in the oxygen generator I've got 50,000 ice. It took, to fill these tanks, a grand total to fill both of them of 554,000 ice. All of it mined by hand with the hand drill. Not looking forward to ever having to do that again. Alright, in any event, while the assembler cooks up the needed metal grids, I'm going to take apart the last of this lander and get it stowed in the cargo bays, and I'll be back with a welding sequence when everything is ready. Well, there we are. Everything all welded up. I did have a few extra. But there you go. The ship is all ready to go. The The lander is completely disassembled. Okay, let's get in here and have a look here. All right, everything is set up. All right, now to make a few groups and set up the controls. Small thrusters. And oh, wait a minute. Large thruster. Call that main. All right. And now of the, we've got, no, wait a minute. I know there's more than one of those that points up. No, down. Left, up, and right, and down. All right, what's going on here? I have two small thrusters that are pointed downward, along with the main. And then I have two that are pointed upwards. All right. Small thruster. Those two are not. Okay, there's several of these that are not. Well, okay, get in the pilot seat to do this, I guess. All right, first of all, flight seat. That is the main cockpit. All right. Small thrusters, toggle them on. Main thruster, toggle that on. Now toggle these others off. Don't want them actually using anything yet. All right, left, up, and all right. How about okay, yeah, forward as related. Okay, that's right. These directions are set according to what orientation is the flight seat. All right, so small thrusters 7 and 8, and small forward. Okay. All right. Okay, that's good. Now on the G menu, I can set some things on the toolbar that I'm going to need. Main thruster. Toggle that on and off. And then for main thruster, we're going to want to be able to increase the override and decrease the override. And then let's see, the small forward thrusters will also have an increase and decrease override, because all right, let's try this again. Increase override, decrease override, and then small thrusters for all of them, toggle them on and off. Okay. The gyro I shouldn't have to mess with. That'll work. Let's see. landing gear, toggle on and off. Okay. Alright, yeah, it's been quite a time getting to this point, like for example filling those hydrogen tanks. A total of 554,000 ice that I had to dig up by hand, and it took that lone oxygen generator 3 hours to convert that ice and fill those 2 tanks. Yeah, that's why I did it off camera. I knew it was going to take a while. Now, in terms of will this thing fly or not, I have done enough math concerning thrust to weight ratios that I am certain that the large thruster and the 2 small thrusters pointing at the ground will produce enough thrust to get this thing going. What I don't know is how long 2 large tanks of hydrogen are going to last. That we'll have to find out the hard way. In the meantime, the ship is loaded. There is nothing remaining on the ground that we want, and therefore, oops, wrong key. It's time to go. So, oh, yeah, let's turn the hydrogen tanks on and take them both out of stockpile mode. And, let's turn the oxygen generator off for right now. I don't want it using the ice just yet. So, get a view that is not of the sky from the cockpit. And I'm sorry I can't rotate this. It's all based on where the cockpit or where the flight seat is located. So, main thrusters are on, and small thrusters are on, and begin incrementing the override. Oh, wait a minute. Hit P to let go of the landing gear and 1 to turn it off, and now begin incrementing thrust override. 900 kilonewtons, and it takes off. So let's increase that override and get up to max speed, and then decrease override to conserve fuel. Because okay, we're at max override. No, we're not. 3 meganewtons. Alright. Small thrusters, the small downwards, I guess, 5, yeah. Whoops. Okay, small thrusters off. They're fighting. I didn't anticipate that. I obviously picked the wrong ones. Alright, we're at 100 meters per second, which is max velocity. Begin cutting override. Reduce override until we start slowing down, and then bring it back up 1 notch. Alright, that brought us to a start to slow down. So 1 notch more. And looking in here, hydrogen tank 1 at 93, tank 2 at 93. Alright. Well, it seems to be working. With 8 kilometers altitude and climbing. Let's try dropping that override again. And drop it again. Okay, losing velocity there. Let's bring it back up to 900. And there we go. All right, let's drop the override again. Slowing down, but not as quickly. All right, flight seat view. Whoops, don't get out of the flight seat. Ugh, that was not good. That was almost a disaster. We are 14 kilometers up. Rolling heads up according to the... All right. "16 kilometers up and climbing, still maintaining full velocity." Drop the override down again. Okay, we're losing some velocity, but that's not necessarily bad. It just means that we're not... We're still going up. We're just doing it a little bit slower. And I think that as we get higher up, we'll need less and less of that. In the meantime, small forward. Ah, that's what I did. There. Small rear. Now, get rid of that. Small forward. Delete that group. Now I can go here on the G menu, groups, and I can get rid of this one and that one, and I can take small rear for decrease override and increase override. All right, decrease, increase, and we have a toggle on and off. All right, now we can toggle them on. Dampeners off. And now on 4 and 5, let's see. Increase the override on that. Add just enough to stop us from slowing down, because the override steps on the big thruster are a little too big. All right, we're accelerating again. All right. Let's take this one and that one, turn them off. There. All right. My whole thing with the small thrusters is obviously wrong. I gotta figure this out. It's driving me nuts. Small hydrogen forward. Okay. And the two backward. Let's disable their override, turn them on, Now they're on but idling. There. Now I can reduce the override on the mains. And we're still going. And then I can finally do this and have it actually work. Small forward, increase override, small forward, decrease override. And yeah, it's affecting the right ones now. Beautiful. It's working good. 13 kilometers and climbing. And doing it this way to maintain a minimum use of fuel. Let's back those off just a little bit. We're at max velocity. Keep backing them off until the velocity just begins to drop. The thing with the small thrusters is they have a smaller increment in their override steps. And now, oh, okay. There we go. Climbing up here, we can see most of this hemisphere of the planet now. Great. And there's our lake down there. 21 kilometers altitude, and climbing, gravity is down to 0.4 gravity, 0.4 G, yeah. Okay. It's getting there quickly. And of course there's no point trying to go faster than 100 meters per second because you can't. Okay, granted there are speed mods, but they sometimes have problematic issues with them, so I'm not going to bother. Alright. Step down the mains again. Actually that disables them, so we'll switch on. We'll bring up the mini thrusters now. Turn the mains off. And we're now flying just on the small thrusters. And I'm having to turn those back quite a bit. Alright, Alright, this is minimum override. 32 kilometers altitude, and if I'm not mistaken, we get to 0 G right around 40 kilometers. Alright, we're just riding on the small thrusters right now. And hydrogen tanks are both at 85%. I honestly expected it to use a lot more. I expected it to go through at least a full tank. And it looks like that is not going to happen. Okay, visible in the sky. Ahead and ahead and, well, to there is, I'm assuming that's the alien planet. And, of course, that would be the Mars-like and its moon. And somewhere around here would be our moon, or the Earth-like moon. Apparently it's on the other side of the planet because I can't see it around here anywhere. But that's alright. Gravity is now at 0.05. And even on minimum override, thrusters are now accelerating us. Gravity is 0. Okay. And now to disable the override completely and turn inertia dampening on. This brings us to a stop, where we can do a little something about de-uglifying the outside of the ship a little bit. Taking care to maintain... Oh, helmet. Okay. My dampeners were off as well. And my helmet was off, which was almost terminal. Speaking of which, I don't have any oxygen bottles on me. I now need to make it a point to always have O2 bottles. Oh, oxygen generator. Turn it on. Now turn it back off. Alright. Let's get rid of this. We don't need it anymore. And all of that. Now, do I want to keep these bits of legs to use as landing legs, like for a moon landing or something, once I figure out where it is and head for it? I don't know. I'm going to leave them there for right now because they're not hurting anything. Alright, so I think the first thing I need to do is, well, how about get in here, turn one of those tanks off, and then get the oxygen generator going again. There's 50,000 ice. And of course, it is now using that to refill hydrogen tank 1. Because tank 2 is turned off. Alright. I need to start getting this ship fixed up a little bit. Like for the mission of finding more stuff that we're going to need. Let's see. One of the things it's going to need right off the bat is an ore detector. Let's see. No, I don't want to put it there because thrust damage and all that. This'll do. Alright, get this welded up. The ship will be able to detect ore. It's still going to have to be within 150 meters, but Alright, motors, computers, detector components. Detector components. I was going to say, don't tell me there ain't no motors after what I took apart. And more detector components. Alright, there we have a working ore detector. And if I put an antenna on the ship, it will be able to broadcast what it finds to me. Alright, G menu. Antenna. I'm going to go with this one. It's the large ship small antenna, because the regular antenna, alright, the regular one here, the default vanilla large antenna, or antenna for a large ship, if I get into third person, look at how big that freaking thing is. Obnoxious. So I'm going to go with this one, which is based on the design of the small ship large antenna. It's pretty much just as expensive to build, but it only takes up 2 blocks. Okay, radio components. Alright, construction, large steel tubes, small steel tubes. There they are. Alright, I need another 17 small. It's a good thing we have an assembler. Just take a moment. There we go. All right. Now, where to go? A first thought, honestly, would be to head to the moon, and that's not the moon. That's probably, I believe, the Mars-like planet. Up there is the alien planet. They are a long ways away. Very long ways away, as in thousands of kilometers. So I guess one of the things I need to do is find the moon or an asteroid. Either would be acceptable. So now we are in search of asteroids. Let's see. Pitch down here so the planet is a reference, sort of. And without managing to go into a let's re-enter mode, inertial dampening off, accelerate up to max, and basically cruise around the planet. All right. And search for either the moon or a local asteroid. Now, I've got asteroids set to low density, so they won't exactly be peppering the sky. So I'm going to head in this general direction for a while and see if can, well, okay, for one thing, Let's pitch up a little more, and let's counter this sudden encounter with gravity. Yeah, stay the heck out of gravity, because gravity will kill the ship and put us right back where we started. Alright, whoa, there. Alright, inertial dampeners. Now dampeners off. And yeah, going to accelerate pretty much this way for a while. It occurs to me I do have a reference. This one, for example, show on HUD. This is where the uranium is on the surface. That gives me a reference, at least for altitude. It's not ideal, but it'll do. So, I'm going to accelerate in this direction, coast in this direction long enough to get far enough out to where I can have a shot at seeing where the moon is or where there is an asteroid. And when I find something to head for, I'll cut back in. Alright, I've just looked at the time, and I am already going over my time. So, we'll leave it here, and in the next episode, we'll see what we find. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Take it easy. I'm out of here.